Hello everybody, my name's Mrs Smith and I'm the EYFS leader at Trinity Primary School on Buckshaw Village. This video and PowerPoint have been created to help you support your child as they transition into school with us in September 2021. We hope you find the information useful. If you do have any extra questions or concerns or queries that you want to speak to us about, please email us on the parental concerns email. The address for that is parentalconcerns@trinitybookshore.lancs.sch.uk. The email address will be on the PowerPoint, so don't worry if you've just not caught it now. Hope you enjoy looking at the video and PowerPoint that we've created. Usually you'd be invited into school to have a face-to-face meeting and you get to meet the teachers and the TAs during this time. Obviously at the moment we're not able to do that. We're not able to invite you into school, but we still would like you to meet the team. So on this PowerPoint slide you'll see pictures of myself and Miss Buxton, who's one of our reception teachers, and Mrs Hunter, who's another reception teacher. In addition to this, each of our teachers are supported with a fabulous teaching assistant who will help support your child's learning and development during their time at Trinity School. Once your child starts school with us, we very much work as a team, so you can speak to any member of the reception teaching team, a TA or a class teacher. It doesn't have to be, if your child's in my class, it doesn't have to be me that they speak to. It could be any one of us. We share information and work together, as I said, as a team. At Trinity School, we offer our preschool children story and rhyme time sessions in the summer term before they start with us in September. Obviously, last year it was slightly different due to the situation we had with COVID. So the 3 reception teachers recorded story and rhyme time session videos, and these can still be accessed on the school website. So if you'd like to share these with your children to help them to get to know us as teachers and just help to prepare them for school. We are this year able to offer some story and rhyme time sessions in the school hall though. So your child will be given an invite to come into school to join in with the story and rhyme time sessions. These are taking place on Tuesday the 6th, Wednesday the 7th and Thursday the 8th of July. They will be in the afternoon and they're only half-an-hour sessions. We will invite you to come in. There will be 15 children invited at one time. Obviously, we ask that you only one adult comes with the child, just so that we can make sure we've got social distancing measures in place properly. So look out for the invitation. You'll get an email with lots of information on it, including the invitations for the story and rhyme time session. You will also get an invitation for a sampler day visit, because obviously this year again we've not been able to invite you into school to come and look at our amazing environment and meet the staff and children that we've currently got in reception. So we're offering sampler visits to the children on the Thursday the 2nd and Friday the 3rd of September. Again, you'll be invited, so we'll send you an invitation for you to come within a specific allocated time. And again, we ask that there's only one adult comes with each child, just again for social distancing, purposes really. So look out for the email with all this information on, with the invites attached to this. I'm sure one of your next questions is going to be, when do they actually start school with us? So on Monday the 6th of September, we're going to invite 10 children from each class to start school with us. These will be the youngest children in our cohort. So each class will have 10 children starting on Monday the 6th of September. They will start at 9:30 and school for them will finish at 3 p.m. that day. On Tuesday the 7th of September, we'll obviously have those 10 children from each class that started on Monday. We will invite another 10 children from each class to join us. The school day will still be for everybody, 9:30 till 3 p.m. And then on Wednesday the 8th of September, the final 10 children from each class will be invited to join us. So by that time we will have all 90 children in school. Again, on Wednesday, the school day will be 9:30 till 3 p.m. On Thursday the 9th of September, we'll obviously have all 90 children in school by then, and they will begin school at the normal time of 8:55 and school will end at 3:10. If you're concerned about your child doing a full school day, obviously we can look at reduced timetables. However, we've never had to do this. The children settle in really well. We support them greatly in these first few days, first few weeks of school, helping them with lunchtime and things. so that we don't usually have any concerns. But if you do have any personal concerns about your child, just let us know and we can arrange to speak to you and discuss any issues that you might have. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is what happens on the first day that your child comes to school. The children, we have classroom doors that lead off the playground, so you'll need to bring your child around the side of the building. There'll be signposts to show you the way, so please don't worry, onto the main playground, and each teacher has a classroom door that leads into their part of the classroom. The children will enter the classroom through that door. The teacher will be on the door waiting to welcome your child, and the TAs will be in the classroom ready to support them with things like putting the bags and the coats and things away. It can sometimes be a bit of a traumatic time, more for parents than children at this time, because children are usually quite excited to come in, but for parents it's quite tricky leaving your child. But we do ask that you stand back a little way from the door, and so the doorway's not getting congested. And obviously at this current time with COVID and things, it'll help with social distancing. And the children enter the classroom on their own, so we ask you to wave goodbye to them and send them in with a big smile on your faces. The children will, if they're upset, the teacher on the door or the TAs will support them and give them the comfort they need to help them settle in those first few days. So please don't worry about it. We will be there for you, but we do ask that you wave goodbye to them at the door to prevent congestion. Now, the next thing you'll need to know is what to do at the end of the day when it's time to collect your child. So basically, the children are dismissed from the same door that you brought them to in the morning. So once you've dropped them off in the morning, you'll know where to come and collect them from at the end of the day. We do ask that, again, you stand back from the doorway because, as you can imagine, once we get 90 parents there, it's quite a lot of people to look out at, and sometimes it's daunting from the children leaving the classroom as well. So if you stand back from the doorway and then we can have a clear view of you. It's a bit trickier on rainy days if you've got umbrellas and hoods up, so you need to bear with us, please, because obviously we need to get used to who you are and who's collecting your child each day, basically. So it might just take a little while at first, but we will only ever hand your child over to a known or named adult. It's really important that you filled in the authorised collectors list that will have been put in your pack from the school office, and that you've returned that, because we will only dismiss your child to somebody that's on that list. If you need your child picking up by somebody else who isn't on the list, it's really important that you notify the school office via telephone or email so that we can clarify this, because otherwise we will hold your child and check with you before we dismiss them. We do dismiss each child one at a time, and as I said, it does take time sometimes. If you can see your child at the door at the front of the line, please just give them a quick wave. Give us a quick wave. That'll help us to get to know you, and then we can send your child out to you. Obviously, try not to wave all the time because we'll get confused who they're going to then. So just wave if you see your child at the front. It just helps us to get to know you, and it helps your child to know which direction they're walking in. So the next part of the video on PowerPoint is going to cover what your child will need for school. And I know this sounds really obvious, but they need a coat, preferably with a hood, that they've had a go at putting on and taking off themselves. We work on things like zips and fastenings during their time in reception, but obviously if your child can already do that, that would be amazing. It is quite tricky for little hands though. We do have free flow access to the outdoor area, so the children are able to go out at any time, and they also have a playtime after they've eaten their lunch, so they will need a coat. So even if it's quite a fine dry morning, it's worth just sending them with the coat anyway, just so that they've got it in case the weather turns bad once they're in school. You can send your child with some fruit or vegetable as a snack throughout the day. Please make sure it's in either a named bag or a container, and in each class they have a box to put their fruit into. They can also have a bottle of water. We ask that it's still unflavoured water, please. Again, it's probably a good job if it's in a bottle with a little sports cap. It just prevents spillage and things. Please make sure you name your bottles, because I know it might look a bit unique at the time when you buy it, but quite often children have similar bottles. If your child's not got fruit or vegetables that day, don't worry. In school, we have a little fruit table, and the children can access school fruit and have a piece of that throughout the day. Now, if your child is having a packed lunch instead of a school dinner, please make sure that, again, the lunchbox is named, and make sure that they can open it themselves. We will help them, obviously, but it just makes it a little bit easier, and it stops them from getting stressed if they can open it themselves. They will also need a PE bag and a reading bag. Now, our PFA usually provide the children with reading bags, and they will be available on the first day your child starts school. But they will need a drawstring PE bag, and inside the PE bag they'll need their PE kit as well, which I'll come to over on the next slide. Now, parents often ask us how they can help their child be ready for school, be prepared for school. And from a teaching point of view, it's the more practical, basic things that you probably don't think are important that help us the most in school. So things like dressing and undressing themselves, practice putting on the new school uniform. Sometimes the school jumpers and cardigans, particularly the jumpers, can be a little bit tight. It's often easier to buy a slightly bigger size, just makes it easy for your child to get them on and off. Teach them how to pull their arms out and things, so that they're not like to bend their elbows to get their arms out of the jumper and things. Just little things like that will help your child become more independent in school. If the coats are inside out, for instance, to put your hand down the sleeve and pull it out so that it's the right way out. Again, work on fastening buttons and zips. Don't worry if they can't not master that. It is something that we will help them with. We're obviously not just going to leave the children to their own devices, but the more independent they are, the easier it is for them. Putting on and taking off their own shoes as well. The Velcro shoes are the best ones. It just makes it easier for the children to get the feet in and out and to be able to tighten them up if they need to tighten them up. Again, make sure the shoes are named though, because they sometimes do take them off in the role play area and things, or if they're doing PE, it's just easier if everything's named, because quite often children have similar shoes. That goes for pumps as well in the PE bags. It helps if they're Velcro, they're easy to get on and off for them. Using the toilet independently. Again, this seems like common sense sometimes, but children do find it hard to wipe themselves after they've been to the toilet. We aren't going to abandon your child in the bathroom, but we're going to encourage them to be independent. So if you can start working on things like wiping themselves after they've been to the toilet, being able to pull the pants up and tuck themselves in, teaching them that they've got to do that before they leave the bathroom, just helps with privacy and things once they come to school. Being able to use a soap dispenser and doing hand washing. We do have hand dryers in school, so if your child is a little wary of these, it might be worth just talking to them about that and getting them used to that in preparation for September. There is access to paper towels if children are really upset by the hand dryer, but we usually find that they might be a little bit concerned about it at first, but then after a few weeks they're used to it and they're settled and they watch the other children use it and they're okay. Being independent with things such as peeling their own fruit, so teach them how to start off peeling an orange, using a knife and fork to cut up like the sausages and the other things that might have. You could practice that at home, that would be really good. Knowing if the nose is running that they need to get a tissue to wipe it and then to put it in the bin afterwards. And they also need to be able to share and tidy up. Again, these are really essential skills for starting school, and we do appreciate any support you can give us with this. They do have to tidy up at school. It's a big environment and they do have to share. So if your children are used to doing that before they start school, it just makes life easier for them and for us in the long run. So the next part is all about uniform, what your child will need for school, where you can purchase it from. So you can order uniform from the PFA, and you should have details of this in the pupil information pack that was emailed out to you. If you've got any problems at all with this, please speak to the school office either via telephone or email. And one of the most important things I would say is make sure you name everything, because things do get lost. Obviously, we've got 90 children all wearing the same kind of uniform. If it's labelled, there's 99% chance that it will come back to you. If it's not labelled, we can't guarantee that, I'm afraid. You can buy the iron-on labels, stitching labels. You can just write your child's name in with a Sharpie or some kind of pen. Check it as you wash it, obviously, as time goes on, because they do wear out. But obviously, if it's labelled, it makes it easier for us to get it back to the right owner. Sometimes it takes a few days if it's been misplaced, but if it's got a name in, it will come back to you. Try and label jumpers and cardigans near the top, so it's on the label at the back, so it's really easy to access and for the children to see it. it's a good idea to make sure your child recognises their label. So, just say this is your name and get them used to seeing it, so that when they're looking for it, they can spot that name as well. If you choose for your child to purchase to have a Trinity school coat, which are fabulous, they're reversible, waterproof, but obviously if a lot of children have them, they are hard to get back to the right owner if they're not labelled. Please make sure it's clearly labelled. You could use the pocket. There's a grey triangle on the back of it that you could write your child's name on. In the hood near the zip, sometimes some people lift up the zip, fasten in and write it under there. You can, if you want to, put like a little bit of red thread on the zip or a green thread or something, just a small piece, just so that your child knows it's theirs. PE kits, as I mentioned before, they will need to draw a string bag with their PE kits in. We leave the PE bags in school. Obviously, this might change, because this year with the children have just been coming to school in the PE kits on the PE day. It will depend on government guidance as to whether we're keeping PE bags in school. But if your child does need a PE bag in school, get it ready anyway, just in case, because you'll need the PE kit even if we don't have the bags in school. They need a pair of pumps, preferably slip-on Velcro ones. Again, they just make it easy to get on and off. And with the Velcro fasteners, you can tighten them, because sometimes they're a bit of a funny fit, pumps. Again, they need to be named, please. A purple polo shirt with a school label on, school logo on. Again, that can be ordered from the PFA. And then they just need a pair of black shorts, simple black shorts. Just make sure everything is labelled. I know I keep going on about this, but it's really, really important. They will have the reading bags. As I said, the PFA provide these. Please send them into school every day and check them every night. It's our means of communication between home and school. Quite often towards the end of the year, bags get full of all sorts. If you can empty them on a regular basis so that they've not got bits of paper and things in them. Obviously, over time, reading bags start to go in there, but like important letters and communication would go in there as well. We ask that you don't put water bottles in the reading bags, because obviously once they get reading books, if the water bottles leaks, the books get ruined, and then we have to ask you to pay for them. So something you'll need to consider before September is whether your child is going to have a school dinner or a packed lunch. Now, at the moment, all children in reception and Key Stage 1 are entitled to a free school meal as part of a government initiative. Most of our children at Brookwood Way in reception and Key Stage 1 do have this school dinner. There are a few children who have a packed lunch. Obviously, we ask you to make that decision, and once you've decided, we encourage your children to stick to the packed lunch or hot dinner choice for a half term. It just makes it easier managing numbers and things within school. Mrs. Pennington, our school cook, is amazing, and she's used to dealing with all different kinds of dietary requirements, whether it be allergies, intolerances, or vegetarian, vegan choices. If your child has got a dairy, for instance, a dairy intolerance, she will need a medical note from the doctor to say this, and she will be able to provide the right kind of meals for your child. If your child is vegan or vegetarian, if you just let us know that, then we will let Mrs. Pennington know, and again, she will cater for these needs. In addition to the free school meal mentioned above as part of the government initiative, some children have a statutory entitlement to free school meals. For instance, if you're a parent who is in receipt of certain benefits, or if your family are in the services, or if your child is a looked after child, you might be applicable for this pupil premium benefit. If you think this applies to you, there will be some information in the pupil information pack that's been emailed out to you. However, if you need to, you can speak to a member of the office staff and they will help you with this and point you in the right direction to investigate this further. We are a cashless school, so if you do need to make any payments to school for trips and non-uniform days and things, we do ask that you use parent pay. And again, details of this would have been included in the pack that's been sent out to you via email. Once again, if you've got any issues with this, please speak to a member of the office staff and they'll be able to help you with any additional questions you might have. So next, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about assessment in the foundation stage, so what it's like how we assess our children in the reception class. We start off by gathering lots of information, and we call it baseline information, from preschool providers and parents, even before the children start school with us. So as a team, we've been in contact with all nurseries, preschool providers to try and get some information about your child, about their likes, their interests, things they don't like, things that we can support them with. In addition to this, we ask you as parents, there's a This Is Me sheet that will be emailed out to you. If you could just fill that in with it talks about your child's family and things they like to do, things they don't like, any worries that they may have. It just helps us prepare for September and to plan ahead for your child. Obviously, we'll gather information on Sampler Day from you and by talking to your child, and the story and rhyme time sessions as well provide information for us to support us with our baseline assessments. Once the children start with us in September, we do lots of activities together with the children that help us to form further assessments of the children and help us to plan next steps in individualised learning for each child, so that we're meeting the needs of those children wherever they may be. We track this progress of the children throughout the year, throughout each half term really. It's quite an ongoing thing in reception, and we put support in place if need be, or challenges in place to extend learners, and we'll keep you informed of any issues we might have, or if any concerns we have. And this is the same with you. You can talk to us about this as well. We usually have formal parents' evening in October and February. Again, it's been slightly different this year. We've had parent phone calls and we've done meetings over video links and end of year reports in July. So it could change slightly. It might not be exactly October and February, but you will have opportunities to speak to us regarding your child's progress and academic learning. Obviously, at other times, you might need to speak to us. And in the current situation with COVID and things, it's not quite as easy as it has been in the past, where we would just have invited you to pop in after school or whatever. But if you do need to speak to a member of the staff in reception, then please speak to the office or email the parental concerns email, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. So previously in the presentation, we talked about your child starting school, and I also mentioned Sampler Day and Story and Rhyme Time. So I'm just going to use this time now just to explain to you a little bit more about these two sessions so that you know what to expect when you come with your child. So the Sampler visit is in September, and it's just before your child starts school. And it's a chance for you to visit the classroom environment with your child so that they can become familiar with where they're going to be coming to on their first day of school. It just helps them settle in because they've been there with the parent, and then so it's not something brand new to them when they come on their own on the first day. They get to explore the environment, use all the resources, and the TAs take a picture of your child, a photograph, which we will use for the self-registration board and the coat pegs and things, but we'll be able to show you where all that is, and your child will be able to look at the toilets and things so that it's all familiar to them when they start school. It's also a chance for us as adults, parents and teachers to have a discussion, and for you to share any information you might need to about your child, or to ask any questions, so that we can reassure you about any concerns you might have. It's quite an informal time. It's only a short time, but it's invaluable in the transition process into school. And the Story and Rhyme Time session, as I've mentioned, last year we had to do this via video because unfortunately we couldn't invite people into school. But this year we're going to be lucky enough to provide each child with one session in the school hall for you and your child to come in. You get to meet the class teacher, and the teacher will read a story and maybe do some nursery rhymes, and we provide like a little nursery rhyme booklet for you to take home with your child. Because what we've found over time is that early reading and that early nursery rhymes and listening to rhyme are so beneficial to a child's early reading and writing development. So the nursery rhyme booklet will provide you with, when I look at it, it often reminds me of things from my childhood, nursery rhymes that I remember, and it just prompts you to share these with your child and develop that positive love of reading and that wanting to know all about reading and the writing process. So now I'm going to talk about some of the practical aspects of school, some of the things that you might just need to know, you might have questions about. So if your child is going to be absent from school for whatever reason, there is dentist, illness, you need to let school know, please. You can do that through the school app. You can email or ring into school. Obviously, if the school office have not heard from you after a certain amount of time, they will text to check that everything is okay and that your child is with you, and there was nothing we need to be concerned about. If your child has an upset tummy, so they've got sickness and diarrhea, we ask that you keep them off school for 48 hours from the time they have their last bout of sickness. I know this sounds a bit extreme, but it just helps to make sure that the bugs and viruses are out of the tummy before they come back to school. If they're ill in school, we'll obviously contact you at home or on your mobile telephone number, so it's really important that these are kept up to date. So if you have any changes to mobile numbers or you move house and your landline changes, please let us know so that we can contact you if we need to do. If your child uses an inhaler on a regular basis and they're going to need the inhaler in school, you'll need to fill in the asthma card in the office, in the school office. Again, you'll need to email or phone the school office and they'll let you have this so that you can fill it in. We try and encourage the children to use their inhalers independently. They obviously need to be named so that we can keep them in school, and it's up to you to make sure that you provide new ones so that they don't expire in school. We don't administer medicines in school unless they've been prescribed by a doctor, and only then if it's 4 times a day. Because if it's antibiotics and it's 3 times a day, they can have it in the morning before they come to school. They can have it when they leave school, and then they can have it before bed. So if it's 4 times a day and it's prescribed by a doctor, then that's when we can administer it within school. But you will need to fill in a medical form. If you've got any questions about that aspect of it, because you've got a child who has on medication for something permanently and you need to talk to us about this, again, just contact the school office and we can help you with this. If your child gets head lice, please let school know. This is just so that we can inform other parents and that they can check their child's head as well. It's really common, head lice in school. It's nothing to be bothered about. Obviously, just make sure that you treat it and that you let us know. Sometimes if your child's had a bumped head in school, they'll come home with a little first aid slip, which they'll get, say if they've grazed their knee and we've given first aid to your child, they'll have a first aid slip anyway. If they've had a bump to the head, they'll get a first aid slip as well as a bumped head letter. We ask that you sign this and return it so that you can acknowledge that you've received the letter. So I'm just going to mention to you now about attendance at school. Obviously, attending school every day is going to give your child the best possible start in their academic school life. When they're in school, they're obviously making friends, they're having lots of fun, building those lasting relationships, having time to play and exploring new and exciting activities. If they have chunks of time off for no apparent reason, then they will obviously encounter gaps in their learning and it can affect the progress that they will make over their time in school. You can help us with this by helping your child to attend school regularly. We do actively promote holidays in school holiday periods. Please try to avoid taking your child out during term time, as this can impact on their learning and the progress that they make. Your child's education is very, very important, and these early crucial stages are essential to building up good learning habits and making sure that they have a real positive effect on their entire school life. So finally, we're coming to the end of our PowerPoint and video induction meeting, but you may still have some questions and queries that you feel we've not addressed, or that you've got something specific about your child that you need to mention or that you want to ask us about. So on the bottom of this slide, I've put the parental concerns email address. You can just put any concerns into that. It will be forwarded to a member of the reception team, and one of us will contact you either via email or telephone. So look out for the email with the extra information about your child's start date, the reception, sampler visit and story and rhyme time sessions. And also, finally, really one of the things I just wanted to mention was that make sure we know your child's preferred name. Now, this might sound a bit strange, but obviously we've seen birth certificates, and you've put your child's official name on the documents that you've applied as you've applied for a place at school. But sometimes, for instance, a child might be called John Alexander, and you might want them to be called Alex. So we just need to know that, because we go off the list that we've got when we're writing name lists for books and for self-registration and for coat pegs. So if your child's name is anything other than what is written on the form, or you want it shortened from Victoria to Vicky, please let us know, and then we can make sure we accommodate this. You can put it on the bottom of the This Is Me sheet that you'll be filling in and returning back to school, or you can email us with it. Thank you for watching this video and PowerPoint, and I hope it has been useful. Please, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask us. We're always here via telephone or email, and we look forward to seeing you and meeting you in September.